It's 2 wins in a row in 2 nights. Forget the beer. Forget the mixed drinks. It's Rally Mimosas. But while we go for those Rally Mimosas, guys, you want to go streaking? Anybody?
It's like we won the cup practically, honestly.
I mean, this is how TSN 1040 would be if we won 2 games in a row, right? Guys, let's go streaking. Come on, let's go.
Woo!
No?
I'll pay you money to keep your shirt on.
No? All right, fine. Be that way. We'll just throw up the Sharky W flag. And welcome to this edition of Pucknology After Dark. I am Eric Kura, Puck Guy 14. We have a full lineup tonight with the almighty AJ Strong, Chris JWS, J Alexander 46. You can join us anytime in the conversation. We will read your tweets and then some. Just use the hashtag, where is it? The hashtag Pucknology After Dark, or tweet us at PuckGuy14, at AJ Strong, at Chris JWS, at Pucknology. Gentry came on, so the graphic is not properly on, but there you go. The hashtag Pucknology After Dark. There's your 4 Twitter handles you can tweet to as well, and fire away. All right, guys.
We have multiple votes in the chat already. Please leave your shirt on. both Hannah and O'Brien vote for you to leave it on.
So, just keep it cool, all right? Just be quiet, all right? Don't be jelly. All right, Sharks win 6-2. Which, down the road, maybe the goal differential will hopefully come into play. We will start off with the almighty AJ Strong. Good evening to you, sir. Your thoughts on tonight's game?
It's a tale of two teams, a tale of 2 games, a tale of 2 cities and 2 nights. They absolutely dominate Montreal last night. Don't even take a penalty with the laughable misconduct to Scott at the end of the game. Tonight it was a bit of a parade to the box, and for the most part the PK was good. But when you look at the numbers from last night, when it was just absolute domination, there was no stat that the Sharks left untouched. Face-offs, hitting, chances, I mean, everything. And tonight, it was almost in reverse. They got killed in the circle tonight, outshot, and then and for me the best part, of course, is the home cooking on the it was a game in Vancouver when Sedin, albeit it's an empty netter, but Nieto gets 3 points, Sedin gets 2 points, but somehow Sedin's the number 1 star. That's a little home cooking for Vancouver, so good for them. It's like I said, tale of 2 teams, a little sloppy defensively, not as sharp as we saw last night, but you know what? They came out early and strong and laid it down, to taking that 3-0 lead in. That was a key. I mean, they won by 3. They started with the margin. They kept the margin at the end. I'm good with it. And if they're not at brunch tomorrow in Santana Row, there's a problem. Fire McClellan if that's the issue. But you know what? It's none of my business.
Oh, jeez. Oh, the puns are rolling already, folks. Chris, good evening to you. Your thoughts on tonight's game?
Like AJ said, it was definitely nowhere near what it was last night. I mean, last night they just killed Montreal. Tonight, I don't think the stats tell the whole story here. I mean, part of it is a lot of the time they got outshot was when they were ahead by a lot, and there's a reason why they use score-adjusted stats as well, because, like I said, every team lays off a bit when they have a 2-plus goal lead. I think they did a good job getting ahead early. I mean, I think there was some definitely good bounces went their way there early. They managed to get some nice shots, and they got up early, and they managed to hold on to a lead. It's progress for sure. I don't know how long they'll sustain this. It'll be interesting to see, but they definitely seem to have their heads in the game, which is a good sign. And this is the first time they've won back-to-back games since the end of January. Like, in no point in February did they win back-to-back games. So it's definitely a sign of progress. And another fun stat I found is they have more even-strength goals, not counting the two empty netters, more even-strength goals in these last 2 games than they had in the entire second half of February, 5 games. So they're actually scoring again, which is a good sign.
Which is interesting because you basically got rid of 4 bottom 6 forwards, and all of a sudden the light came up, or either that or their mimosas are on point on the bench. Gentry, Notch Bro, good evening to you. It's been a little bit since we had you on. Your thoughts tonight?
I thought, well, yeah, it was 2 different games. It was a lot of it was like you watched it last night, and it was a well structured, defensive game. This one, a little bit sloppy, but it was just good enough to get the job done. I felt like the Sharks got off to a really good early start, mostly because Markstrom it didn't seem like he was there. He was physically there. The lights were on, but nobody was home. I thought the first goal by Tierney was fantastic, just a nice little snipe. They played a good, solid north-south game, and then I felt like, but once they got that third one, they started to kind of ease back a bit, which was not something you want to see with this team, given the fact that they've given up leads too many times before. Once you started seeing the Canucks fire back in that second, you were like, I bet 95% of the fan base was like, oh God, here we go again. Start putting on the paper bags, start saying I'm the embarrassed fan, things like that. But yeah, I will say this though, Nemo looked solid. He looked more solid tonight than he has, and he hasn't looked solid since that Chicago game. So it was good to see kind of Nemo back on it. And it was nice to see, yet again, we benched Hannon, and already we have won 2 games without him. Hint, hint, coaching staff, hint, hint.
Absolutely.
I don't want to, this is a case of, okay, 2 good wins. Let's not start sucking each other off just yet. We have to take into account this was the Sharks playing their 3rd in 4 nights, and you're up against a depleted Vancouver squad who's missing some huge keys on defense. Plus, you're starting a no-name guy in goal who hasn't started a game this entire season. So, like I said, we can't start, rubbing and tugging just yet. We'll see what happens, see if they get anybody back the next time we play them. If you get, whether it's Edler or Cassian or whoever, the Sharks faced a depleted squad tonight. So we can't get too insane about this win, but at least we're trending in the right direction. And when it was 3-2, I think you guys were joining me going, not this shit again. Mm-hmm. And they were able to figure it out, get it done. Nieto with a huge tally made the difference. So here we go.
So yeah, that's what they've been missing every time is whenever they've gotten a big lead, the team kind of gets back into it, and they never reestablish their game and keep it going. It just seems like once they things start sliding in the wrong direction, it goes. It's all gone.
And there were so many things. There were so many things in the second period that you could have had fall apart with them. They got the two goals quick. They had the 5-on-3 for almost a minute and a half with the Sharks penalty kill doing an awesome job with that. But yeah, once Nieto got that 4-2 goal, that quickly changed the complexity of the game here. Nemo did have his shaky spots, and again, it's that east-west, side-to-side movement that has me concerned here because he did have a good game. I'm not saying he was horrible, but the side-to-side, I don't know if it's him pushing off on the goaltending or on his skates, but he just seems to have some trouble there, and it really looks shaky tonight.
Well,
But still, overall, pretty good.
most goaltenders are going to have trouble when it's going east-west that close because they were letting them move the puck around way too much in front of the net. Like it's one thing to go east-west at the point. It's a different thing when they're like doing it right in front of the slot, which is kind of ridiculous a few times there. But
True. And while we were praising them yesterday about the face-off circle, Chris, you brought it up beforehand how they weren't quite the greatest
yeah,
on the face-offs tonight.
Yeah, Logan Couture went 4 for 18. Thornton was the only one above 50%. Or sorry, Thornton and Wingles, but Wingles only had a couple. Thornton was 6 for 11. Wingles was 2 for 3. But overall, they just got their lunch eaten in the face-off circle. I believe it was 36-19 in favor of the Canucks. I mean, that's pretty bad. But luckily, it didn't come back to bite them. They managed to still possess the puck pretty decently in spite of that.
And for that matter, guys, to have that strong start where you had 3 goals in 4:15, you send out Markstrom early, you bring in Lack, who wasn't expecting to go at all tonight. You kind of have them in their heads because I think it's including the empty net goals. So we're going to be technical here, but 11 goals on Vancouver ice this season. That's pretty good on the road against a team that you could see in round 1. And yes, we are talking potential playoff matchups now. Strange but true.
Which is funny because when we were just saying last week, we were like, playoffs?
Right.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Let's not start sucking each other off yet.
Yeah, we still got an uphill battle to go here because, I mean, they are 3 points behind the Canucks, but the Canucks also have 2 games in hand. They're even with the Kings, but the Kings have 2 games in hand. Where's the standings?
In reference to tonight's squabble, right now the Sharks are Dorsett, and the rest of the league is John Scott. Okay, we still got a lot of fight to have.
Yeah, they're closer, but they still, like, every team in front of them right now has games in hand, so it's an improvement and it's steps in the right direction, but they need to win Saturday night. They need to win a few more after that before we can really start talking serious about playoffs. I'll let Eric talk so you can get the graphic up here.
Yeah, I mean the graphic pretty much shows what the looks like right now. They're technically tied with Calgary, who sits in the number 3 spot in the Pacific at 72. Of course, they have the tiebreaker with games in hand and the first tiebreaker overall, which is regulation overtime wins at 31. Sharks are actually technically ahead of LA, but because LA has games in hand on San Jose, that's why you show them above them in the standings. As for the wild card, they're 3 points out from Minnesota. But the one you got to kind of keep an eye on right now is Winnipeg at 76 because they only have 26 ROWs. That will come to a tiebreak. Then we would get in if we were to match Winnipeg if it came down to a tiebreaker like that. Anaheim's slowly starting to come back on now, so they're at 89. They have 33. But the thing here is that if any of the teams that can catch up to Anaheim, they could catch them and steal the division away. But realistically, that's what you're looking at. You're looking at you could possibly get right back into it and be the number two seed in the Pacific, like the Sharks were a couple of weeks ago before they just went.
Yeah, so someone put on the chat, Hannah did, that we're off until Saturday here, so we got a good 5 days for the Sharks to rest and recover and hopefully not get lackadaisical. But during that time, Vancouver and the Kings will be playing, so we'll get a better idea how those games in hand play out. But I'm guessing they'll probably still jump a point or two back ahead of us, but at least the Sharks are back in the conversation. Like, this time last week, they were damn near out, or no, they were out of it.
Absolutely. I mean, you have the scene down and out. You throw in what happened with the trade deadline, and everybody was ready to come with lynches. Like Gentry, you said, we saw the infamous tweet from Curtis. I swear I'm gonna get his name wrong. Curtis Pascal. Sorry about that, Curtis from the Merc, who found the three fans that couldn't bear to identify themselves as Sharks fans because they were too embarrassed. But they're finding their stride. You beat the best team in the East. You beat the team that's ahead of you in the standings by a combined score of 10-2. We just need to have mimosas a lot more often, preferably with hash browns, I say.
No, I think we need to discover this hidden gem of a place that the Sharks had their brunch at, because I think that will be like the new go-to place for all the playoff eateries. Well, okay, sorry, I said playoffs, my bad. But for the rest of the season, just to kind of get the streak continue. I want to see that effort on Saturday against the Canucks again, because if you can have a winning year against the Canucks again, it goes to show that that this team can do damage. And if you can have that confidence and you can go through the month of March on a tear and kind of get back what you lost in February, that would be huge for the confidence. And then also, and maybe that game that Stalock played against, the premier team of the East, would give Stalock that confidence back, and then we could possibly see him get more starts, and that would be fantastic leading into the month of April.
You want to talk about confidence, it's these next 4 home games. Bringing back what it is to, have it be scary for the opposition to play in the Shark Tank with Vancouver, Pittsburgh, Nashville, and Chicago. Chicago's going to want to come in for retribution. You know that the Sharks, you would hope, are going to want retribution by being embarrassed by Pekka Rinne the last time we saw them in Nashville. And if we all remember correctly, the last time the Pittsburgh Penguins were here, Crosby put up a -5 for the first time in his career. So don't think he's not going to want to make a statement. So these next 4, the Canucks are going to want to say something back after tonight, and then those 3 following, these next 4 at home, huge statement games, and really could be the difference between believing in them or saying, you know what, it just didn't have it this season.
Yeah, absolutely. You have those 4 games. So Saturday against the Canucks, Monday against Pittsburgh, which that's an NBCSN game. So, Rody, if you're watching, you want to join us, come on over. Nashville next Thursday, the 12th, and then a Saturday afternoon matinee for the Sharks and Blackhawks. You got 4 tough competitive games, 4 games that out of those 4, you hopefully need to win 3 of them, if not lose the 4th one in overtime or in the shootout, because you can't give up any more points.
Not at all.
And especially games in hand.
And how fun is that game against Montreal going to be in 2 weeks?
Oh, yeah, you know they'll be wanting retribution, and that's a Hockey Night in Canada game, too. So that'll be a huge one. In fact, that's going to be not just on CSN and on CBC, but that's on the French side and on NHL Network in the U.S. So that one's going to be a huge one to for everybody to get up for, big time. And then and that road trip. I mean, Winnipeg on St. Patrick's Day, huge game. Toronto, that one you gotta win no matter what. Montreal's gonna want retribution. The Sharks are gonna want to come back against the Senators and the Red Wings. They're back-to-back games. You have the Flyers. That's an early Saturday morning game, and then to Pittsburgh, and then you finish up with Colorado and the Coyotes.
Can I hop on with a quick tweet?
Absolutely. Again, you can tweet us #Pucknology After Dark or any of the.
Well, it wasn't a direct tweet, but yes, if you do, like we always say, do us a favor, subscribe at the bottom, hit us up on Twitter. Pucknology After Dark is the hashtag. But I did come across a tweet that says the Sharks have outscored their opponents 10-2 ever since John Scott became a mainstay fourth liner. The man just ignites the offensive synergy. And the response from someone was, and all that without the knowledge of even how to skate. Very impressive. So
yeah, it's amazing. We actually go out there and manage to win 2 games. Putting out only 17 skaters. It's a real testament.
And the person who tweeted that ever since Scott became a mainstay fourth liner, that he just ignites that offensive synergy. That would be your favorite and mine, Mark Purdy.
Oh, Purdy.
I would have expected it was Kevin Kurz because he does love to just tweet out their win-loss record with John Scott. It's funny though, he didn't respond to me a couple of games ago, and I was like, hey, their last 5 games with John Scott in the lineup, 0-5.
Yeah.
Silence was like, no response.
Well, that was
to
because
curse?
Todd Kennedy was his fourth liner. Of course, TK was bringing him down.
Oh yes. TK and Desjardins were
Right.
dragging. We're making it very difficult
You know
for
what?
the elite talent that is John Scott to really come out.
I'm happy you brought that up. I haven't looked into it yet, and granted, deadline day was yesterday. Have any of our trades, be it Desjardins, Kennedy, or Shepard, have any of them hit the ice yet?
Well, that's a great question.
No,
I know Shep has. Shep has, for sure. I think he's actually.
Kennedy was ruled out because he was injured. Go figure.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably hurt himself putting something in the overhead compartment of the airplane.
Wait, no, are we talking about Havlat or Kennedy?
I'm sorry.
One's ugly, one's a ginger. Okay,
Yeah.
come on, keep it straight.
No,
here.
he was ruled out with his first game with the Islanders because he was injured, which was go figure. No wonder why he only got a 7th round pick out of him. I don't know if Desi played, and I don't know if Shepard played.
Shepard played. I'm trying to find his stats. I know Desi didn't play yesterday because of the time difference. He couldn't make it to Chicago in time, and probably didn't get a police escort from the airport.
Yeah, dude, that was badass.
We do have a tweet from our friend Brody Brazil.
Are you serious?
Yes, this is coming in from Pucknology. I don't think that will fly very well with my bosses considering our own post-game show, but appreciate the offer.
What was that? Hold on. What is that?
He just doesn't want to help with the competition, I guess.
Hold on.
Sorry,
What is that in? What is that in response to?
Well, we said that because on Tuesday, when the Penguins are in town, that's an NBCSN game. So CSN isn't on the air. So no pre and post game on Tuesday night.
No. I meant how was he responding? And now I'm seeing that you put out the official invite tweet. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Right.
So guys, got a little something here, you know.
Oh,
It's time for the false dichotomy, a special trade deadline edition of the false dichotomy. And you know, I'm throwing my music from Match Game here, but whatever. So we have a couple trade day themed false dichotomy questions, because you see, in our world, you know, there's lots of nuance. There's many shades of gray, if you will. But in the false dichotomy, it's all black and white. It's one way or the other. You're wrong or you're right. There is no middle ground. So, who's playing? Is it Gentry and AJ? We can only have two people compete. So I guess it'll be you two. So, first question. As you all know, James Shepard was traded. It was said he was traded to allow Tomas Hertl to play center. Probably he hasn't done it since, but let's not go there. So you have two choices. Let's say you were Doug Wilson 4 days ago. You can either trade James Shepard to allow Tomas Hertl to play center, or you can keep him and Tomas Hertl cannot play center. There's obviously no third option where you keep him and he plays center. But what do you do? Gentry.
Hold on, I gotta get my inner Doug Wilson. I gotta get in my inner fountain of youth and my tanning bed. All right.
You're not orange enough, bro.
I'm not baked enough. I don't look like a thing of goldfish. But yeah, I would still trade I'd still trade Shepard. I mean, he did have some value, but you gotta, you know, if we're gonna start building this whole youth movement, you have to let Hertl get to his natural position. But the funny thing is that he still hasn't played it. But anywho, yeah, I thought it was a good idea to trade Shepard. So,
AJ, why is he wrong?
Gentry, you ignorant slut. Oh, and I will tell you, you know what, my answer may be incomplete because I wasn't really paying that much attention to the question. But
does it really matter? I mean,
it doesn't really matter. No. You, of course, you keep Shepard, of course, because that would be the Doug Wilson thing to do. So the fact that he got rid of him is mind-boggling. I think, especially most of all, to Tomas Hertl.
And forever banishing Hertl to not play center, because obviously there's no way you can play while Shepard's here, right?
Of course not. No. Because what you do is you put Hertl back at the top line with Joe Thornton, where he had his most success. So Thornton would obviously center that line, while Shepard gets to center. Now wait for it. Mike Brown and John Scott in my world.
Oh, all right. Okay. So
for the record, though,
now we move on to the next question here, because you know, right now the Sharks have won 2 games in a row, so clearly they are back in the hunt. They're going to make the playoffs, or it's just an illusion. What is it? AJ, you go first.
It's an illusion. Bottom line, it's an illusion. I'm still you know me. I've been saying this since back at the beginning of the season. The Sharks will not make the playoffs this season. I'm standing by it. They might miss it by only a point, but I'm sticking with it. Sharks are not making the playoffs.
Gentry, why is he wrong?
Because the Sharks have a tendency of, no matter what, they tend to just find their way to make it into the playoffs. Will they go deep? Probably not with this team, but I feel like they could squeak their way. A couple of key things, like, you know, you could have Minnesota or Winnipeg go cold at the wrong time, and the Sharks can jump on that, and Calgary can do the same. It's all about timing, and if the Sharks can get hot in the month of March, they could squeak by, you know, with a wild card spot or the 3rd or 2nd seed in the Pacific. So yeah, I think they can do it. We've got enough talent to get there. It's just getting deep that's going to be the issue.
I don't think it's the case of enough talent. It's the case of other teams are hurting, particularly Vancouver and Calgary.
And the Pacific Division is pretty sorry. So, final question. John Scott has brought us 2 victories in a row, and we have a great record with him in the lineup. Is he the ultimate spark plug for the team, or is he as terrible as his individual stats indicate? Gentry, you get to go first this time.
I'm gonna say that I've been saying this from the beginning since my debut on this show that we should make John Scott captain. He is what this team needs. He is the fire. He is the passion. He is the memes that just keep on giving. He is our Ilya Brizgalov when it comes to hilarity, and we need that as somebody. He doesn't take anything seriously, and that is why we need John Scott for captain. And he will. Hey, and if we make it to the playoffs, he will be the Conn Smythe winner.
Gentry, you misinformed Floozy. No. John Scott is Mike Rathje at forward. That's what he is. That is what
he's not that bad.
He's Mike Rathje at forward. He is cement on skates that can make the occasional play from time to time. The only redeeming quality that guy has is he literally has the goon's goofy-ass personality, and I'll give him that. I respect that. He's the one guy I would definitely want to have a beer with, but let's be honest, he would be much more entertaining being a bouncer at a neighborhood bar than being trying to play forward for the San Jose Sharks. But you have to give it to him. At least he did take on a guy that was about half his size tonight, so kudos to you, John Scott. We appreciate that.
Okay, Eric, you get to be the judge. Who won the false dichotomy?
Ooh, that's
and
a tough one.
No ties are allowed.
No, because we don't have ties, and we're not going to go into a shootout. That's a tough one, but because Gentry is thinking high that John Scott's going to be a Conn Smythe winner, I got to give it to AJ.
AJ wins the false dichotomy. Okay, and enough of that.
I gotta say, if John Scott off the ice could be an impact, maybe not what he does on the ice.
Hey, at this point,
I think, and as the optimist of us four, you know me, I think we're gonna make the playoffs.
At this point, John Scott could potentially play goalie for Florida. He's got the height.
I could be a blast at a Super Bowl party. He looks like he'd be a lot of fun there.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I'd totally hang out with him and have a beer with him, but I just think he's a terrible hockey player.
And for those who didn't know about it, Florida had both of their goaltenders injured tonight. They sent one of their forwards to get dressed as a backup, while their goaltending coach, Rob Tallis, a former NHL goaltender, was quickly signed to a contract and was ready to go if need be. But Luongo came back out to finish up the game. That could be a nightmare to Florida's shocking comeback into getting into the playoffs, as they're fighting with Boston for that last wildcard spot.
But really, are we anticipating Florida to get into a playoff spot? We all know Boston's going to do it.
Dude. Luongo, Danny Heatley, Jaromir Jagr, and in Florida, take all of those things into consideration, dude. Next fucking week for AARP night is going to be off the chain, bro. Off the chain. The tennis balls on the walkers and those little Jiffy cart things, the Jitty, whatever those little things are called, dude. The parking is going to be insane at the next Florida game for AARP night.
Pretty much.
Wait, are we having AARP night at the tank? I mean, we have nights for everything, so.
We have nights for everything except for a social media night. I don't know why they would possibly not have that.
No, there's no Sharks fans on Twitter. Please.
I know, right?
No, not at all.
Speaking of which, guys, I'll throw this out there, and along with our fellow Twitterers who are actually watching, here's my question to you. Since I still have a cajillion tweet-up buttons from the Stadium Series, should we do one for Fan Appreciation Night?
Why not?
Absolutely.
Do it.
I vote yes. I mean, that's going to be the only game I think I'm going to end up going to between now and the end of the year.
That will probably be the only thing that that a majority of the people who go to the game will actually be able to win, because it just seems like they just give out random prizes to. I think what was it last year during the fan appreciation night? They gave a jersey away to somebody who wasn't even a Sharks fan. That broke my heart.
I love that. But yeah, I just hope there's enough fans there for you to give the buttons to.
I imagine that night usually gets pretty packed out because that's a fun night. But I remember it was 3 years ago, one of my coworkers was there as well, and the dude got to go on the ice and meet Ryan Clough and get his jersey. He's like, damn, I hate you.
Our Gentry's friend of mine, David, also known as the Superfly, he, and I think AJ, you even know him from the feeder boards from years ago. And if you guys don't know him, he's the guy that stands up in Section 212 pretty much every game. He won a contest, got to be the fan favorite, which was Patrick Marleau, and went from there.
Yeah.
So it's always fun. They give away the jerseys. It's a prelude to the equipment sale, which if there's anything to it, to the off season, it's that. It's Christmas Day with jerseys.
Nothing will ever top Fan Appreciation Night, where they gave out the hats and Ricci had the trick. Nothing will ever come close to that.
Oh my gosh!
But keep trying, Sharks. We'd like to see what else you can come up with, but nothing will ever top that.
I would love for them to, I don't know, maybe have teal shirts to hand out. Real teal shirts to hand out.
No, they're gonna make orange ones again, like they did for the conference final.
So a couple comments here from the chat. By all means, jump in if you're watching. I do keep an eye on the chat here, but I guess Drew thinks you're insane, Gentry. I assume that's from the John Scott comments, probably. You may have jumped in the middle of that and seen you praising our favorite player on the show. I think anyone should know by now we're probably being sarcastic if we're saying anything remotely nice about him.
But hold on, Davalos just hopped on here.
Who is that?
He's a guy that I've gone back and forth with, either Facebook, Twitter, or both, or whatever. He's a good guy, big Canucks fan. So yeah, it's just funny to see him hop on in there. But yeah, if they go orange again, somebody can kiss my ass.
And Kenji is the eternal optimist. Panthers have a better chance than the Sharks. Yep, very optimistic.
Wow.
I have a small bone to pick with Drew, a.k.a. Bleeding Teal here. He says Thornton doesn't take anything seriously because we lost LA after going up 3-0. I think if you saw the fact that dude was practically in tears at the end of that, I don't think he wasn't taking it seriously. But let's not get into the Thornton debate.
No,
I could kind of see that because there are times where he's has that, oh, I'm fine, I think we'll be okay, and go on and go on. We've seen that all the time with his post-game comments. But yeah, I think the stark reality after Game 7 is that we just blew a 3-0 lead, and yeah.
Yeah, I think he cared the whole time, but and yeah, okay, so Davalos is our good friend Quakes fan 84. Yeah, he's a big believer in all the Bay Area teams, if you know what I mean. AJ knows.
I know.
And SoCal sucks, as he loves to say. So let's talk.
And Generation X-Wing is saying, "What's the gift with the purchase to get one of those buttons?" Ha 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 ha. Hashtag QVC mode. Okay. And by the way, the fake plant is still not for sale.
Well, as he also said earlier, I'm not saying anything, but someone has a screenshot grabber going right now in a response to your potential stripping debut on the show. So.
Patrick, that's a little scary then. If you're going to record me.
Nobody calls that. I hope nobody calls San Francisco police about that. People are screenshotting stuff. It's okay. Chris knows what I'm talking about.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I used to be an NFL scout. Okay.
That's right.
Oh. Hey, John.
Hey, John. You seen his wife? If for those of you who don't know, we're making references to our lovely local FM sports station that likes to have a Sharks guest on once or twice a week and spend half the interview talking about baseball because they can't stomach the idea of talking about the Sharks for more than 2 or 3 minutes. Because, that's only enough time to, like, say, Problem Thornton and Marlowe, blah, 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 they suck. Therefore, okay, we're done with the Sharks interview.
Or my favorite is when they turn a Brody Brazil Shark segment into an A's discussion.
Yeah, like, hey, let's not talk about the Sharks at all during this interview that we have our Sharks insider, Brody Brazil. And I don't put the quotes there as a disrespect to Brody. I hate the term insider for most of these things because most of these guys are not insiders. They're just people who know a lot about the given team.
Oh, what? You mean they don't go way, way, way inside?
No, Kevin Kurz, I think, is the only one who's going way, way inside anything.
I thought it was Rado.
No, we do not want to go way, way inside that mustache.
Oh boy. Yeah, and that ad was a little scary too. But guys, I don't know if you knew this, but there's actually been, I'm telling you, there was actual evidence of Rado smiling. I mean, look at that. I mean,
oh my God, dude! What the hell?
You just lost all of our fan base,
dude.
What?
Like,
10?
Watch our number plummet. Like, it just went down. It went down.
Oh, I don't want to know about whatever's going down.
Yeah, obviously our ratings because you just showed Ray Rado.
Well, I'm sorry. I apologize.
This is why we can't have nice things, Eric. Because you put up pictures of Ray freaking Rado. Just win the game. Just win the game, okay?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Win the game. That's all we need to do is win the game. Oh my gosh.
I still like. Did you ever see the post by Battle of California? They're talking about applying Ray Rado's logic to all the problems in life. They're like, "Hey, starving children in Africa, just eat food." It's like just a bunch of different things. Like, hey, let's apply Ray Rado's solution. It works with everything.
Dude, how is that not like a Tumblr feed just waiting to happen?
People on Tumblr, make it happen. I know you out there. Come on, do it.
I've gone to Tumblr, but I'm not a 14-year-old girl.
That's where I get all my best gifts. All right, leave me alone.
I'm judging you right now. I'm seriously judging you right now.
Wow.
Judge away.
And the chat is going crazy because the picture of Rado just came on through there. And I believe Kenji, Jesus H. Christ, my freaking eyes.
You know what? Oh, wait, I just got one. It said that, who opened the Ark of the Covenant? My face is melting.
Wow.
Okay. You know what? I know how Eric loves to reference Major League, and so just a nice little quote for you, Eric.
Okay.
It's a nice picture. Don't ever fucking do it again.
Yes. Well, wait. Here's another one then. I mean, it goes from a few years. Ehrhoff with the windup, just a bit outside. He tried to top shelf and missed completely.
Yeah, back when I've heard several people talk about trying to bring Ehrhoff back, and for me, it's the case of, number one, you got rid of him for a reason. If he was so star-spangled awesome, there would have been a reason to keep him, and you didn't. And number two, there's a reason why his nickname was Way Off. So, and some people are going to overpay for shit. We've seen that all the time. But if he was so fan-fucking-tastic, they wouldn't have let him go anyway. So
I would have taken him back at the right price, like if they
for a handed deal.
Oh, not for a handed deal. I'd probably pay a little bit more than that, but yeah,
maybe
have taken
Brad Stewart deal.
$6 or $7 million or whatever freaking he was getting per year. Well, if you're talking $3 to $5 million a year,
Brad Stewart deal.
with our defensive core, we could definitely use a guy who may not be good on defense, but can at least move the puck up and do something offensively. Because although we would watch us, we would prepare him with Brent Burns and be like, hey, what could go wrong?
Oh, fuck that. No. Well, speaking of defense, though, where do we see the defense going from here on out? Now that the roster's opened up, do we see Tennyson come up, or Tennyson? Do we see Tennyson come up? I got Ov on the brain. Tennyson come up. Is Hannon going to be riding the pine from here on out? For the love of Pete.
Please.
To the delight of fans everywhere, it's like the fans of a grateful sports franchise. Thank you.
I would hope so. I have a feeling though that they'll probably try to sneak him back to the lineup at some point to bring some of that KG veteranness he's known so well for. Because we know how much that KG veteranness.
You keep making comments like that, you're going to find yourself headlining the Improv.
Yeah, no, I have a feeling we'll see him again at some point. Hopefully not too much. I've said all along that the other half of Tire Fire 2015, at least Irwin is not that bad if you pair him with a competent defense partner. 'Cause remember, he was really damn good when you put him with Dan Boyle 2 years ago. He was really good.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were talking about him being the next one.
Yeah, and also Irwin has picked up his game lately, and he's on a bit of a point streak, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, he's stepped it up, and I think anybody who's responded to the whole potential of being traded was Irwin. Also, I would like to see Tennyson come back into the lineup before the end of the season, because it does seem that they are missing a right-handed shot on defense.
I couldn't see any way that they were going to deal Irwin at all when you consider that the Sharks have zero depth on defense. You can't afford to give him away,
Yeah.
Unless you got a defense
He's competent on the offensive end, even if he's not that good on the defensive end.
But you know what I mean.
He's not good at either end.
No one on defense was. I mean, look at the two guys that they kept, Irwin and Hannon. They kept them both because defense.
Yeah.
We could lose Hannon, and I don't think we'd lose much. Irwin, we'd actually lose a little offensive punch, but I like the idea of bringing Tennyson up again. I think if it gets late in the season and if they're actually legitimately in the hunt, it wouldn't surprise me if we see him again, because I think he's arguably one of our best four, easily one of our best six we could put out there.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah, but the tough part is that Worcester, shockingly, is in a playoff race right now. So, I mean, you don't want to mess that up. I mean, Roy Sommer's going to, get a 6-year contract extension for getting Worcester in the playoffs for the first time in forever.
Yeah, I'm sure we saw all those kind of funny transactions where it's like they sent people down, but they were not down, or like they were like literally within an hour. Like they sent them down, they brought them back up in an hour. I guess that was something to do with eligibility, to make like Goodrow and a few others eligible to go down to Worcester for the playoffs if need be.
And speaking of Worcester, did you hear that the Sharks announced the name of the AHL franchise when it comes here? Yeah, me neither.
I was like,
and
wait a minute.
This is where my name for my AHL franchise would go. If I had one.
Exactly. Oh, shit. Here we go. I knew Gen X was going to bring me up at some point. Check your tweets. Oh, dear Lord.
Oh, no. What?
Oh, no. He actually lit up Gentry more on that than me. Good looking out, Gen X. Appreciate that.
John Scott should be captain, but I none of my business.
I guess. I gotta say this.
All these positive vibes. AJ has like nothing to go on, to go on a rant. Well, I'm sure if you really needed to, you probably could, but.
Dude, you were this close when you started bringing up 95.7. I'm just saying.
Yeah, let's save that for a different night.
Exactly.
We got a nice positive vibe going here, which was totally not what I was expecting. I just remember thinking the other night, I was like, man, the next couple times we're on are gonna be pretty dark.
To me,
not that won't happen.
Very dark. But you mentioned the name of of the AHL team. A number of people have been saying it and would like to see it. I kind of quickly put this together the day of, and I say
What
bring
in
back
the
the San Jose.
holy fook is that?
That is a mashup of our original triangle and the original Sharks logo with the original Seals logo, and bringing back the I guess we'll call them the San Jose Seals.
In the
I
almighty.
thought it was like a fish humping like an orange egg or something.
Oh my God! Have you guys not seen the original Oakland Seals logo for crying out loud?
Yes, I've seen it, but in the immortal words of Cartman from South Park, no.
Oh, it has to be really fancy. Okay, I see how.
I'm not saying really fancy. That's just no. The one thing I would really enjoy, and maybe they just feel like they don't have time or whatever. Why not do it like they did it 25 years ago and put it to a fan vote? Let the fans suggest whatever. I heard, in fact, I believe I saw something that the Stockton Thunder, the new team coming in, they're doing a fan vote thing. And in fact, a friend of mine, actually, his name is one of the 5 up. And he suggested Inferno, and it's one of the 5 that apparently that they're looking at. So put it up for a fan vote. Let the fans get involved. Remember how awesome it was 25 years ago when you had Blades and Sharks and all the other laundry list of names? Let's get them. I mean, see, this is the whole thing too. Is that 25 years ago you didn't have social media, you didn't have the web in that regard then, where it was so prevalent. So now you could have people tweet in suggestions, hashtag name the Sharks NHL team or whatever, put it up on their page, promote the shit out of it, let people tweet in, and then say, okay, these are the most popular, vote on them, and give them however much time, but make it a fan interactive thing.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. Why not make it a fan interactive thing? Speaking of which, we'll throw it out there. Guys, what would you want the team to be named? There's been talk of Seals, Barracudas out there. What do you think?
I had not heard Barracuda. That's not bad. Because, I mean, of course you come out to Hart. That's,
of course.
Uh-huh.
And it would be sponsored by Barracuda.
And and you get the sponsorship from the Barracuda. Dude, you should. How are you not working for the marketing department of the Sharks with that?
Because I've applied for 2 jobs with the Sharks and have not received a call back on either one.
Oh, they just used you for the 6th man, and that was it.
That's right. 7th man, motherfucker.
Okay.
So speaking of what the fans want.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Barracudas is not bad. But here's a question for the room, since we're throwing it out there on the chat. Oh, I was like, what the fuck is that?
Oh, well, you said with Hart, so I thought I'd add some music production into this show.
Well, you want to go with the proper sponsor. You'd rather go the Barracudas instead of the San Jose Saps, but I'll put it out to the room. And I'll start with you, Gentry. You get one choice to what is your submission?
I'd go with Hammerheads.
Okay.
Because they wouldn't have just Hammerheads. That would work. Because it's just different enough, but it's still within the same species, so people aren't going to get confused where it's like, oh, we're going to go see the San Jose Sharks. No, we're seeing the Hammerheads. Same organization, just different, prospects. So go with the Hammerheads.
All right. And Eric, you?
Me? If you can't get Seals because the NHL owns it and you have to deal with the Dallas Stars who technically have the history from it, I see you bring back a name that we've already seen used, Rhinos. The San Jose Rhinos.
I do still have a shirt in my closet.
I mean, it represents the only pro hockey championship San Jose's had, And make no mistake, I think that was San Jose's first professional championship.
All right,
They
Chris.
won in '95 with the RHI.
I'll nominate what Hannah said here in the chat: the San Jose Sourdough Bread Bowls.
Oh,
I like
come on, come on. What would you really go with? If you had the choice, what would you go with?
Well, if I had the choice, I think what was it that you came up with the other night? There was something that I really liked. I can't remember. Yeah, I'm blanking on it right now.
Who were you talking to?
It was. I think it was you. There's like a couple shows ago. You came up with something. It was really good. I'm blanking on it at the moment.
But okay, well then I'll do it. For me, I've made it abundantly clear. I was incredibly happy with the San Francisco Spiders. I loved their jerseys, the color, the logo is one of the coolest of all time. I would easily want to buy that or license that, whatever they need to do. I would totally go with the Spiders. I love that logo and having webbing on the sleeves of the jerseys. That was fantastic.
It was kind of a prelude to what the Sharks wore a couple years later, with all the with it kind of expanding and curving up. But yeah, I think that's I mean, you could bring back something back like that. I would think that the copyrights will, take care of themselves. For those who are wondering what AJ's talking about, that's the Spiders jersey from 1995-96, which was an ironic thing because Sandis Ozolinsh, he was in a contract dispute at the time, played for the Spiders for a couple of games, got signed by the Sharks, and had the first goals for both the Spiders and the Sharks that year. But those were classic jerseys, and that'd be cool to bring them back. Heck, we wouldn't mind having a teal and black Spider. That would be cool.
So a couple submissions from Twitter here from Generation X-Wing. Maybe the San Jose YOLOs or the San Jose A's. Then Chester Pico, the San Jose Ratos.
Oh.
The hockey team that goes way, way inside.
Whoa, they want Ratto again? All right, I'll pull it up.
And I will say this. No. I told you, don't ever fucking do it again.
Dude, you're seriously, we're going to kick you off your own show here if you do that.
That's not possible.
But I will say, if there is one name that if they were to use it, I would never go to a game, I would never buy any piece of swag, I would never want to have anything to do with that team, and that's if they were to name them the Tiburones.
Why do you hate Spanish people?
I don't hate Spanish people. It's not racist. I don't hate Spanish people. But I mean, if you're going to use it, well, then why not use the French word for it or the Italian word for it? It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that Mark Purdy, and hey, I enjoy his articles, and he can be a really nice guy on Twitter, but he's been hanging his hat on using that fucking phrase in every one of his Sharks pieces since the dawn of time, and it is so annoying. And he does it just to piss fans off.
See, the problem here, I think you missed the problem here, is that you're reading Mark Purdy. See, that's the problem.
Nice
See, I didn't even know that because I don't read Mark Purdy's fucking column.
No,
when you read his columns, you give him the power. When you read his columns, you give him the power.
That's what we need. In fact, if the little text on my bottom third was available, I would say, if you read Mark Purdy, the terrorists win.
Pretty
wow.
Wow.
So by popular demand here, AJ, it appears, between the chat and Twitter, the fans do want you to go into rant mode tonight. So that's probably a good thing to do before we close up here. I'm sure you could improvise. Do you need pound an IPA real quick?
No.
That's just your spinach right there.
I'm out of beer anyway.
What? How's that possible?
I didn't get a chance to get up. So anyway, though, Davalos does make a good point. Is that even if you did go, he used something. I don't know what dots YC. I don't know what that is, but anyway.
That's Oasis.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought it was like some foreign language. See, that's how little I know. But the idea of marketing the game more towards the Latin community, especially with the Earthquakes now having a fantabulous new venue, you're going to the Sharks. Not that they play at the same time, really, but the Sharks are going to have some more competition for the sporting dollar that people are willing to spend. Maybe it is a good thing to market the AHL team more towards the Latino population of San Jose, of which there are so many. Maybe that's a good thing.
And at one time we had Spanish radio broadcasts of the games too. So
we don't anymore.
No, I think we only had it for like a couple of years, and that was it.
Yeah, hip this, Chris. Hip this. So you got to follow what's going on in the chat. Okay, what would you like me to rant about, boys and girls? I'll give you 2 minutes.
Honestly, I think you get to pick the topic here, right?
Yeah, you can pick the topic. Otherwise, you could go with our good friend Crispy Churro with the 0. Was asking Ray Ratto or myself streaking.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea.
Right.
So anyway, oh God, what to rant about? I mean, the best fallback, of course, is the local sports stations and the media per se. One of the interesting things, though, that granted, you guys just kind of shit on Mark Purdy, and that's fine. Doesn't you know what? None of my business. But the fact is that he did tweet out the front page of what today's sporting section was going to be, and the vast majority of it was a huge photo of the Sharks win, smaller above it, but much smaller, talking about the Warriors' loss. And one of the things that I thought was kind of funny is, so for shits and giggles, hop on Facebook and I say, who else is talking about this? Look on the Twitter machine. Of course, it's interaction with the fans, but CSN is pretty much it. The beat writers, that's it. Then you go to KMBR, of course, nothing, because they're not in bed with the Sharks. So I look at 95.7, who are a basically incestual first cousin of the Sharks because they're owned by the same company as K-Fox, and they're both, Entercom owns K-Fox and 95.7 The Game. So I go to 95.7's page and I say, oh, well, they must have something about this incredible blowout of the best team in the Eastern Conference. Not a fucking peep, but 20 mentions of some silly-ass morning show that is apparently having breakfast everywhere but wherever the Sharks had their brunch, clearly. Not a single fucking mention, but 20 mentions about that, 15 mentions about the Warriors' loss, but nothing, never, ever, not ever about the Sharks. I still don't know why they continue to just ignore the fan base. I get the fact that they're always going to hold the bottom of the totem pole. We all know that. They're always going to be sixth out of the major sports in the Bay Area. That's fine, but at least give them that much coverage, which they don't. Their commercials get more. The Cars for Kids commercial gets more airtime than Sharks talk.
1877 Cars for Kids. K-A-R.
Okay, I warned you once, Eric. I already warned you once. I will bounce you. I swear to God.
That one might be on me just because I invoked that commercial, and it is hard to not have that in your head once somebody puts it in there. So that might be a little bit on me. But
1877, kill me now.
It's not our fault that Eric did not have mute on, which he should have in that moment. That was the problem.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, we can all sit here and bitch and piss and moan, but 95.7 is never going to change unless they get a new program director. Oh, wait. They're getting a new program director. Hopefully this guy will bring something to the table with regards to not ignoring college sports, not ignoring the Earthquakes, not ignoring the Sharks, at least giving a little bit of love to the South Bay. There are actually fans down here. We do sell out our buildings So you might, well, of course, though, you also might want to, I don't know, improve your signal a little bit so it can be heard farther than, between the San Mateo and Golden Gate bridges. Like, beyond that, you might want to work on getting a better signal.
Yeah, I like to hear my wall-to-wall Giants talk crystal clear down in here in San Jose,
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, it is getting to the point where it wouldn't surprise me if with this time next season, the Pucknology After Dark may have more listeners than 95.7 at this point.
Hey, that would be awesome.
This time of night, we're probably already ahead of them.
Yeah. So, you know what, for all the people that work there or whatever, look, I'm sorry, but that's just the way I feel. Just give them a little bit of regular coverage. That's all Sharks fans ask. The fact that you throw on Brody one day at 9 a.m. and then another day he's on at 6 p.m. and then the next day, I mean, it's like you have to have that time set in stone. Chris and I know for a fact Drew Remenda got a solid half an hour every Wednesday, and it was fan-fucking-tastic. And a lot of times it would even go 40 minutes. And it was appointment radio. You never missed it, and you always knew when and where it was going to be. If they did something like that with Brody, where or anybody else, why don't they have Hahn on? Why don't they have Baker on? Why don't they have Kurz on? Hedican, any of them? Why don't they have anybody? But no, they're gonna have Matt Steinmetz come on 7 times a week to talk about the fucking Warriors. But you can't get one guy on there regularly to talk about the Sharks. But just my 2 cents.
That ain't none of his business, though.
Not none of my business.
That is so true. So, folks, you got your wish. You got your AJ rant.
I do apologize. Next time I'll be more prepared and less sober.
Boy.
Let's see. We got the AJ rant. We got Eric to keep his shirt on. So, all in all, I'd say this was a pretty successful show.
And the Sharks won. So
yeah. And the Sharks won. So I guess last comments, Chris and Gentry, before we wrap this puppy up.
I'll let you go first, Gentry.
I think this is a good, solid, confidence boost that this team that they really needed. Back-to-back wins, first time since January. I really hope that they take the next couple of days off. They have tomorrow off. Hopefully they'll kind of have another brunch, and then go with the practice for the rest of the week. And I'm hoping for another solid effort on Saturday. And let's get March off to a good start.
Yeah. Chris?
Yeah, my closing thoughts, I really, really want whatever mimosas or brunch they ate, because, man, that stuff is the fountain of youth, apparently. Like Gentry said, let's hope they can keep this going, because I was like, man, this is going to be a really negative, not so fun week for the show, and yeah, luckily they did some good stuff, so let's hope come Saturday we'll have some more good stuff to talk about in the postgame.
Absolutely. And that's what we have looking forward to is Saturday, the rematch with the Vancouver Canucks. Another huge game. It'll be another 7 o'clock. It's an early start. The doors will open at 5:45 for those going to the game. It is on CSN California at 6:30 for the pregame, because we love Brody. The game will be at 7. Gentry and I will be at the game, and it's not just on CSN California. Yes, it is a Saturday night on ice, but it is also hockey night in San Jose, because we're playing Canadian team, and it'll be on hockey night in Canada.
San Jose.
San Jose.
So, with that being said...
Hold on.
What?
Dude, pay attention to Twitter once in a while. We did get 2 more questions before or a question and a comment. Bleeding Teal is saying they're already going to have more people there for the AHL games than NHL games next year, solely based on ticket prices alone. I don't know that would be the case, but I would imagine that at least early on, the AHL team will draw pretty well because people are going to want to check it out, especially when it's at a much better price. And the last thing is Alex is asking, what trade deadline deal do you think will have the biggest impact in the playoffs this season? Now, I think, I don't know if Alex is asking trades over the NHL or if he's specific to the Sharks, because they actually have to make the playoffs. But what trade will have the biggest thing? I think it's obvious, Mike Smith.
All right, I think we've covered it all. And so, as I was trying to say earlier, before we forgot those last two questions, for AJ Strong, for Chris JWS, for Gentry Alexander, you can find us all on Twitter and on Pucknology. We will be back Saturday night. Some of us, maybe not all of us, maybe all of us. We don't know. But until then, keep it real, keep it fresh, keep it real fresh. Good night, Sharks fans.